The time period in my book, The Very Fine Light, begins before Thanksgiving through Christmas time. It's a timely gift for the friend looking for some Christmas spirit. Part 2 remembers Father Nelson Baker and Our Lady of Victory Basilica. Nico Steves here. I'm hearing from some readers that they plan to give gift copies of The Very Fine Light as Christmas presents this year. Just so you know, there is a quick and easy way for doing this on my book's Amazon.com page for ease when sending the book as a present. Plus, it will get to them very quickly. For those of you who haven't heard about it before, the book is about Randy Sparks, a fun-loving village employee who is always in trouble for telling it like it is, and the pushback he faces from the mayor, who is hiding a secret. And when combined with the village's pending bankruptcy, well, it creates a volatile chemistry that will make sparks fly. No pun intended, Randy. Before we get started with the story, I found myself attending a Saturday Mass at Our Lady of Victory Roman Catholic Basilica in Lackawanna, New York, one Saturday evening a while ago. The sanctuary is magnificent and was filled with people of all ages. The vaulting dome and the estimated 2,000 angels surrounding the inside of the basilica succeeded in making me feel as though angels were actively within the space as the service began. The experience for me was enhanced by a most majestic statue of the Virgin Mary seemingly floating above as well. Indeed, Father Baker succeeded in his vision for creating a space where people leave their daily cares behind to engage in the mysteries of faith. And now, the second part of the story of Father Baker in this week's podcast. She did it all. This simple statement is what Venerable Nelson Baker would say anytime something had been accomplished at the multi-service community of charity he helped to grow. Working there as a priest and spiritual leader for 60 years until his passing away in 1936. It's said at minimum 300,000 people came to pay their respects to this beloved Padre of the Poor at the Basilica he built and dedicated to Our Lady of Victory. The story of taking care of God's most needy are the real achievements in his life, and that legacy continues today at the Shrine and Basilica of Our Lady of Victory in Lackawanna, New York. On a campus that still includes a school and caregiving programs from the past, as well as expanding human service programs to meet the needs of society today. I've not seen it mentioned that the Virgin Mary appeared to Father Baker, but he said that she answered his every prayer. And now Father Baker, as he preferred to be called, is in the process of being considered by the Vatican for sainthood. He was elevated to Venerable in 2011, one step closer to being recognized as a holy saint of God in the Roman Catholic Church. Now, Father Baker's life and accomplishments for the Lord, through what he always credited to through the Virgin Mary, is what sainthood is made of. He helped people from every walk of life, people who were down on their luck, people whose society was not always comfortable with. He gave to them all selflessly. Even today, as they celebrate the centennial of this national shrine and basilica, as part of their logo states, all are welcome. His was a total trust in God, and through the faith he had for the intercessions of the Virgin Mary, known as Our Lady of Victory. She became his inspiration when he visited the shrine to Our Lady of Victory in Paris around the year 1875. Apparently, Our Lady of Victory resonated for him during that pilgrimage, even though he also visited Lourdes and the Vatican. Upon his return to Paris, he went once again to this shrine, and Our Lady of Victory became his source of inspiration and guidance from that point on. But to go back a bit further, Nelson Baker, before becoming a priest, which he did about 10 years after most men make the priesthood their life's vocation, was a veteran of the Civil War. It seems hard to imagine someone dying in 1936 could have been involved in the Civil War in 1863, but indeed this was the case. Following the Civil War, he became a very successful businessman. This allowed Nelson Baker the chance to support various charities in Buffalo. However, he wanted more ways to help others. He felt a calling and humbled himself and went into the priesthood. The parish that became Our Lady of Victory had originally been called St. Patrick's Parish, and it already had an orphanage and home for older boys. These institutions were deep in debt, and through Father's previous business experience and leadership skills, he was able to turn this unimaginable debt around. Much more resourcefulness would be needed, and this is where Our Lady of Victory provided it. And whenever someone asked him, he'd sometimes add, in addition to, "She did it all," quote, "The Blessed Mother is my manager, my banker, I am the administrator, and I never worry," unquote. From that beginning, with his getting the orphanage and care centers out of debt, expansions began. From providing refuge for infant babies of unwed mothers to a maternity hospital, followed by building a general hospital, to organizing the farm where the orphan teens would work, which in turn would provide milk and eggs and other foods back to the orphan centers. When a steel strike left workers without access to the homes the mill provided them, they came to Father Baker, who found bread and helped find shelter for them and their families, because always everyone was welcome, no questions asked. In the year 1891, now with a complex of 12 buildings that supported the orphans and other missionary needs on the campus, the bills for heating were prohibitive. He asked Our Lady of Victory for a solution. After prayers, as you guessed it, the story goes, he would say, "She did it all." He was able to get monies to hire natural gas riggers from the Pennsylvania oil fields to come and drill for natural gas on their property. When the riggers got there, they asked who would be the engineer in charge. Well, after a procession and prayers, Father Baker buried an Our Lady of Victory medal and said, "Drill it here and don't harm the metal." There had been no other wells dug in that area, and, well, you guessed it, they struck gas, and Father called it appropriately enough the Victory Well. Not only did it take over supplying the entire campus with their heating needs, they were able to provide 4 dozen plus homes in the surrounding areas heat as well. He was offered $60,000 in 1891 dollars, but Father Baker needed the gas. Best I can tell, though the well is not able to continue on the scale, it did for over 100 years provide for their needs. During the Depression in 1929, he handed out food and dollar bills with a smile and never refused anyone, feeding 700 transients daily and renting houses to board many. Now at age 79, he began to build the shrine and basilica. It's hard to believe all the planning and work that went into this endeavor. There are over 2,000 angels within the domed sanctuary that at the time was the second largest dome in the USA after the nation's capital. They started with no money in the building fund, but Father Baker went to work and promised when completed 6 years later that it would be paid in full. It was started in the year 1921 and completed in 1926. 2 months after it was completed, it was given the title of Minor Basilica. Marble from all over the world was brought in. No detail was spared. It is a fitting location where his remains now rest, as is required by the continuing application for sainthood. He is sheltered in the basilica near their chapel to Our Lady of Lourdes. This chapel to Our Lady of Lourdes has a very unique stone wall. It's said Father Baker wanted to honor this apparition by getting lava from a place that had not been touched by human hands, because he so wanted to honor the Blessed Lady. Another detail he required is the floor in the sanctuary. The sanctuary can hold up to 1,200 people. The floor is ever so slightly raked downward from back to front. you really can't notice it, but the purpose was so those in back could see more easily over those folks ahead of them. Why so many angels, you may ask? Because he wanted people to see something different from every angle that they may look. With the dome rising over 160 feet, plus life-sized Stations of the Cross sculptures, it was no easy task, but they did it all. Obviously, there's more. I've got photos on the website, constantprocession.com, but also do go online to the Basilica's website, olvbasilica.org. OLV as in Our Lady of Victory. Check out the first video found on their 3D model on the inside. It's a very beautifully done piece that brings you into a terrific mood of peaceful desire to honor the Virgin Mary, Mother of God, as Father Baker tried so hard to do with the Basilica, to honor all that she has done for the needy of this saintly Christian community. Always, Father Baker put total trust in the Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Victory, and always she came through for whatever project this priest worked to accomplish. And he sometimes spent long evenings of praying for her intercessions for something to help the needs in the community. She did it all. This is Nico Steves. I hope you enjoyed this installment. My book, The Very Fine Light, can be found using the title, The Very Fine Light, on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. This is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.